theatre, film, TV and more. Suzy Rong reviews it all on Joy Drive.
Good afternoon, Suzy Rong.
Good afternoon, Warren. I love a good cry at the movies.
Oh, don't you? It's
I
so
love
good.
it. I can't cry in normal life. In normal life, I'm very stoic. I'm like, right, if there's tragedy, if there's a problem, I just like keep calm, carry on, maybe try to solve the problem if you can. I don't know how to cry in real life. So when it comes to movies and TV, I love to be able to just let it all out. And with this one, I really did.
Did you feel better after a good cry though?
I love it. During the cry, I just feel like, oh my God, what a relief.
I love it too. I think it's great. I cry in public too, though. That's the problem. It doesn't stop. It's all the time.
Really? That's so good.
I do show my emotions, though, definitely.
Yeah, I keep wanting to achieve that. Kind of, I feel like there's some stuff that I probably need to unlearn, and I haven't really been able to. I think I have become much more expressive with my emotions, but crying, not quite there. So, watching movies, like if it makes me cry, I feel very grateful. I
love the way you describe it as it's something that you haven't quite achieved yet, because I think it is a thing that we should see as an achievement to be able to show that we're upset, to be able to show that we can cry, because I know as men we learn do not show any emotion whatsoever. I think it's great to get to that point, but it takes lots of work.
I think there is something unhealthy about kind of not being not honoring your feelings, really, not honoring your emotions. I think that's something unhealthy. Although, being stoic is beneficial, but I don't know, there must be some kind of middle ground there. Yeah,
we need you around to fix things, and then we need someone, emotional to cry with. How's that?
Yeah.
Suzy, today we're talking about a film on Netflix. It's called NYAD. What's it about?
When Diana NYAD turned 60, she decided to pursue an old ambition of swimming an unimaginable 110 miles or 180 kilometers from Cuba to Florida across the Atlantic Ocean. The feat was estimated to take 60 hours and had never been completed before due to the extreme treacherous conditions. NYAD had been a marathon swimmer in her youth and had attempted the Cuba-Florida swim at 28 years of age, but was on that occasion sadly unsuccessful. She then retired not long after and left it all behind her. The Netflix movie NYAD begins at the milestone of her 60th birthday when she realizes the importance of that forgotten dream and decides to jump into the waters again, determined not to let her age or her gender hold her back. Her best friend Bonnie agrees to act as her coach, and the two mature lesbians promptly embark on what we discover to be nothing less than a miraculous journey, completely astonishing and inspiring. I have said many times before that movies about sport is not my bag, so I was a little trepidatious at the start of NYAD, but given I've been a fan of Annette Bening from way back, I was hopeful to at least be able to admire some excellent acting, especially with the great Jodie Foster co-starring. Glad to report I was not disappointed at all. My tears started just 15 minutes into the film, and by the end I was sobbing uncontrollably. But don't worry, there's nothing sad about the story. Everything is just really, really moving. NYAD is written beautifully, directed powerfully, and performances by the two ladies are just divine. The movie is all about the human spirit. It is about how minuscule and insignificant each person is in the scheme of things, yet we are all able to achieve beyond our wildest dreams. We all know what obstacles and setbacks feel like, but I dare say few of us have encountered anything like what NYAD confronts head-on, by choice, time and time again. To see all that dedication, tenacity and grit is really uplifting, and importantly, it makes us reconsider the meanings of aging and limitations. Warren, I hope you feel rejuvenated after seeing NYAD and feel ready to conquer the world.
I'm ready to conquer the world. Do you know when you said you were crying and you teared up? I got a teary eye then, see? So easy, Suzy. It's contagious.
That's so great.
Now, I love the movie too. I really did. I enjoyed watching it. Finished it off today. I reckon there's a pretty powerful story behind it, and that is that some of us have terrible experiences as kids, and NYAD's was extreme. I mean, we're talking about abuse by her coach, but I feel like even just growing up gay or different puts us in a place where we don't feel normal, you know what I mean? And we then go to great lengths to be accepted so that we can fit in. And, it might be simple things like, I suppose, hiding or trying to be masculine or, not wearing certain clothes, etc., just to try and make ourselves appear what we consider normal and to fit in. But, some of us also apply it to achievement, and I wonder how much of that was going on with NYAD, because in NYAD's case, swimming from Florida to Cuba, I mean, despite the warning from experts that it is not humanly possible, she still wants to do it. Did you find, Suzy, I suppose, when did you realise that you needed to be you instead of what everyone else wants you to be, and did you go into achievement for that?
I'm not sure how it manifests, I observe all my queer friends and I think it manifests differently. Obviously, there are kind of overachievers and you think like, wow, you spent your life trying to prove a point, and sometimes you feel like, oh, good for you, but sometimes I also feel like, oh, that's a really hard life to live, just the way that, I think for a lot of the film, you're watching Diana and you're thinking, wow, that is such an amazing drive that you have, such an amazing achievement you had, but what a way to live a life. It's sort of, you want to celebrate it, but also you understand that this is a really tough life. And, when we are young, in her case, she doesn't talk about her being gay very much, but she talks about the child abuse that she experienced. And I think for us, when we are told as children that we are not worthy, that there's something wrong with us, and that kind of becomes part of who you are, you kind of live your adult life very affected by that. And in her case, I think you can see that, she draws a really great narrative about how she wasn't strong enough when she was young to fight back, and now she's strong enough to fight back against the ocean, which is incredible.
I mean, it's just amazing when you think about it. Like, we're talking about the ocean, and she is told you cannot do it by all the health experts, the academics, everyone, and she's so driven to achieve it. And I couldn't help but look at it and think, oh wow, what is behind this strong drive to achieve this, this impossible swim? I mean, if I look at me, like, I couldn't do anything to fit in sport. Struggled to make friendships as a kid. I tried to wear the latest clothes, but they looked ridiculous. You know what I mean? And I tried to sound straight. And I'm just thinking, what an effort that was. I mean, I had to, I suppose, fit all that in to try and make myself look normal. But I wouldn't be swimming across an ocean. And then I thought, one of the things I was good at was, I suppose, being smart and academic. So I made sure I could get, the highest grades, because of that. And then I think, wow, for 20 to 30 years, I ended up in a career that was so boring and I absolutely hated it. And, but you know what? I felt like I'd proved myself to everyone else but me. Do you reckon that's going on?
Yeah, I think a lot of queer people are very good with tenacity. Like we are kind of like, if you've experienced a lot of kind of attacks when you were small, right? I mean, usually verbal, psychological attacks. That's what I mean. Usually, I think you cultivate so much strength inside, and then that strength serves us well. I think it's just a case of how you apply it. Some people apply it well as grown ups, and some people kind of don't apply it so well. It's hard. You cannot judge because It is difficult growing up queer, especially if you are, our sort of generation and Diana's generation. But I feel like I very rarely see queer people who have no strength in them. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's like, especially when you've experienced it as a kid, I think, like, you really know how to deal with things a little bit more than other people. That's my belief.
And I suppose it's what's behind that drive is what I'm getting at. Is it a healthy drive, or is it driven by something else that's happened to us when we were younger? I mean, all I wanted to do was work in radio, and my dad said, excuse the swearing here, but my dad said to me as a kid, when I said I wanted to work in radio, he looked at me in the eye and he said, Warren, radio's for dead shits. So I didn't do it. It's not a good thing. I mean, I can laugh now, but, as a kid, it's not a good thing to a gay boy who's trying to prove his worth and be himself. So, and then I think later on in my career, I went, I've had enough. I'm going to work in radio. That is it. But it took all that wasted time of doing something else. And
yeah, but you and I have this thing in common, right? Where we've in our 50s now, we are very good at saying, we are good at kind of making things work. But at the same time, you and I are very aware of the shortcomings that we have. Like, we have both of us have this weird thing where we have a little bit too much emphasis on the way we look, and it kind of takes control of our life a little bit too much. And I think that's very closely related to our experiences as gay and trans people. And then it's important that we keep an eye on it. I think you and I both are, we can't overcome it completely, but we kind of keep an eye and keep tabs of it to make sure that it doesn't take over everything.
That's right.
And I think that's an important thing for anyone, really. Like, everyone, when it comes to this age, you would have experienced a lot of trauma, I guess. That's the trendy word now. Everyone calls it trauma. And it's very easy to kind of behave in a way that you're not aware that so what I'm saying is that the self-awareness is really important, and the older you get, you really should be able to have a certain level of self-awareness. That's really healthy, even if you can't really curb the behavior all the time. Just kind of having an understanding of why you're doing things and what is it as a result of. I think that's healthy, and the movie does a lot of that, kind of trying to draw the narrative between this incredible drive, this incredible ambition, and trying to make sense of it with her history. There was a little bit of stuff with her father, who she loved dearly and who had left home. It looked like he had abandoned her and her mother, and she tried to make some connection there as well. So that was good to see.
I love a movie though, Suzy, and this was exactly it, that gets you thinking about yourself, and you start contemplating your life and what's happened. And I think NYAD was great for that. I mean, I kept thinking the whole time, and like you, was getting teary.
Yeah, it is all about human nature, isn't it? It kind of pulls it apart and makes you think, why do people do the things we do, and why do we think that, because there are times you think, oh, God, I wish I would give up, or you think, I would never be even able to do 1% of that, and then you think, what is it that makes us tick? Why is it that people are different? And, it's good to see, how some great things have been achieved, because some people are so impossible. So some people are so out of this world, like, looks to be so unnatural, right? What they're trying to do, but they achieve such greatness for the benefit of a lot of people.
Suzy, you and I do have something that not in common. You know what that is? You don't cry in public.
No, I don't. I don't cry in public. Too much makeup, too much mascara. I spend 90 minutes doing my makeup. I'm not going to wreck it.
90 minutes? Oh my goodness. I wouldn't be crying either. I'd have little hair dryers that dry up the tears. Suzy, what are we watching for next week?
Fellow Travelers on Paramount Plus is an American historical romance political thriller miniseries starring Matt Bomer and Jonathan Bailey. I'm always happy when real gays are hired to play gay characters on TV. Yes. So Warren, buckle up for 8 episodes of Fellow Travelers. And I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.
Thank you. That is Suzy Wrong. And of course, today we were talking about NYAD, which is streaming on Netflix now.